going on, Pats Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Ken's Pats Talk Patriots podcast. Big week. The Patriots are coming up. Patriots are 3-2 and are coming off a big time win on Sunday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills moved to 4-1. They're still number one division, and the Patriots are now 3-2, so they're right on the heels of the Buffalo Bills in the division. So I guess you can say it was kind of an upset win. A lot of people did not expect the Patriots to go in to Buffalo and win that game into Highmark Stadium. And keep in mind, the Bills on a 14-game win streak in that stadium. They won 14 straight home games. They hadn't lost there since the 2023 season to the Broncos, I believe. They lost to the Chiefs last like 20 to 24 playoffs, and they lost to the Chiefs during the playoffs this year. But they had not lost to the lost at home in a while. So the big time win for the Patriots to go in there and get that win, man. So today I'm gonna be joined by a special guest. We have Saints Patriots week. Got to quickly move. Got to turn the page quick. Big time win. Now this is gonna be a big test for Vrabel and company. I want to see how this team does turn the page, going in and playing that. Got to go to the Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints team. They coming off their first win against New York Giants. So me and a special guest, Tjay Jones, a good friend of mine. I had him on a couple of times. We're gonna talk about that. He's a big-time Saints content curator at the State of the Saints podcast. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you are sharing the content, and make sure you are subscribed to the Ken's Pats Talk Patriots podcast. TJ, what's going on with you, bro?
Hey, Ken, how you doing, man? Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Good. Good to have you back, man. You've been on my show. You've never turned me down. You've already came on. I'll be even on my Patriots fan. I'll be seeing you on Twitter and seeing a lot of your content when you be posting on YouTube, man. You do a fabulous job, bro. Hats off to you. Keep grinding.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for that, man. I take a lot of pride in my work. When I hear words like that coming from my peers, man, it means a lot. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir, man. Let's go and hop right on to it, man. Y'all just coming off your first win against the Giants. Now, y'all have struggled to start the season. Then y'all open up against the Cardinals. Then you lost to Seattle, lost to San Francisco. And a lot of these games been close. You lost to Buffalo. I wish y'all was going to hang on and beat Buffalo 2 weeks ago. Man, I watched every snap of that game because I knew we had Buffalo the next week. But y'all hung around Buffalo. Did y'all take a lead in that game?
No, never had a lead, man. As closest the Saints got in that game was like a 7-7 tie. Like Buffalo drove down the field on their opening drive. The Saints responded, drove down the field on their opening drive, scored a touchdown. So that was about.
I think that game went downhill when y'all tried that reverse play in the red zone. That's when it's like everything went downhill from there.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea, especially at that moment, man. I mean, yeah, that wasn't the moment to get cute. But I can respect the hustle, but it just wasn't that time, man.
So you're coming off your first win against the New York Giants, Jackson Dart second starter, whatnot. What happened in that game? How'd y'all pull away with the win? I watched some of the film, like all 22, and I watched some highlights on it. But that's what I got you here for.
Yeah, I think look no further than the 5 turnovers. I mean, they had 5 consecutive turnovers on 5 consecutive drives. So that's a start, right? Jackson Dart and the Giants, they started off red hot. I mean, it was like 14-3. I thought it was going to be a tough day at the office for the Saints. But, you start to see these young players start to step up. Kool-Aid McKinstry with 2 interceptions. Ernest Sinker with a fumble recovery. Jordan Howden with a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So the young players on the team really stepped up, made plays. The veterans, Demario Davis forced a fumble that Ernest Sinker recovered. And also Cam Jordan recovered a fumble off Jackson Dart. So I just think it was a collective effort from everybody. But I just think that the New Orleans Saints have been kind of close in a lot of games this season, just hasn't broken through. And that was just a game that they just decided to do so. So credit to them getting their first win of the season. I think Saints fans are breathing a sigh of relief because people start thinking about 0-17, and that never crossed my mind. Like I ain't never think it was gonna be 0-17.
Right. So far, I know y'all 1-4. It's only been 5 games. Now, This is a two-way question. What's the most encouraging thing you've seen through the first quarter of the season, and what's the most discouraging thing that you've seen from the first quarter of the season so far?
Well, the most encouraging thing that I saw from this team, it has to be the way that they respond after the adversity, like making mistakes, mental mistakes, the false start penalties, right? The holding penalties on offensive line. In the game versus Seattle in week 3, I mean, that was just a train wreck. I mean, that game was over before it started because you had a lot of mistakes on special teams, mistakes on the offensive line. I mean, they kept going backwards. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. But, it made you wonder, like, is Kellen Moore over his head? And then the next week they played against Buffalo. I mean, they didn't win, but they looked much better. They were much better and more disciplined football team. So I would say that their ability to be able to respond in adverse situations. And also just Spencer Rattler being a quarterback. He's not knocking anybody's socks off with his stats. I mean, he had 6 touchdowns and an interception. I mean,
But he's not turning the ball over, which is good.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And this is a guy who historically has been known for being a little loose with the football. And people were wondering, like, would Kellen Moore be able to reel him in? But Spencer Rattler, I mean, people making an argument that he's not the reason they're winning, but he's not the reason they're losing either. So I think it has to be him because he has held the job. And I think around this time, people probably would have thought maybe the Saints would be looking at Tyler Shuck, but nobody's thinking about that. Like, nobody's looking at Rattler and saying, oh, man, Rattler is not good enough to be a starting quarterback. So I would say the way they respond and the player Spencer Rattler has been the most surprising thing to me.
So you've been encouraged by what you've seen from Spencer Rattler so far?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that Spencer Rattler is I use the word solid. I mean, he's a solid quarterback. And I don't say that as a knock. I know when people say things other than he's a franchise quarterback, people look at it as disrespect, but he's a solid quarterback, man. I mean, you mentioned he doesn't turn the ball over, and he puts the ball in a position where the receivers can catch it, and I say he's still head of the chains. So I think that he's a solid guy. I just think that the New Orleans Saints just need some talent around him. Like they need some playmakers. They need some yak getters, right? Guys that can get yards after the catch and make a play after they catch the ball. They don't have that in New Orleans. Like, they got a bunch of speedy guys. Like, if you've seen Rashid Shaheed 87-yard touchdown, he got behind the defenders and he was able to score 87-yard touchdown. But if he would have caught that ball in a flat, would he have ran to the sidelines and broke a tackle or two? Probably not. So I just think that he needs a supporting cast around him so he can be able to thrive. And but right now I think the Saints have a solid quarterback. They just need a few more pieces to make you look more credible in the eyes of Saints fans.
Because this week I've been looking at your depth chart. It don't look as bad as your record. Say y'all, cause I love Olave. I want us to throw a pick and get him from New Orleans. I would love to get Chris Olave, but y'all might be selling some pieces in the next couple of weeks if y'all are bad or whatnot. But man, I wouldn't mind. It's a place up north in New England that would love Chris Olave. I like Shaheed. Y'all got Brandon Cooks back. We made a trade with y'all years ago, and now he's back to New Orleans. I think he's a solid number 3 option. I love Jawan Johnson. I think he's underrated as a tight end. Did he start as wide receiver, then move to tight end?
Yeah, he started off as a wide receiver early in his career, and Sean Payton thought it would be a good idea to move him to tight end. He gained a couple pounds, and that's been his position ever since. And I mean, he's gotten himself extended a few times. So he's a guy that, I mean, he leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion, but he can make some plays, and it seemed like him and Spencer Rattler got a really good connection.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what y'all do there going forward in New Orleans, especially at quarterback. But I like the main thing for Quay, he's not turning the ball over. Right. I mean, we're going to get to the Patriots and get into the Patriots Saints in a minute. But how's your injury report looking so far for this week? I know it's probably early, but what you're hearing so far is Kamara. I think Kamara's dealing with something. I know Chase Young's been out. So what's the update on your injury report for this week?
Well, the injury report is Chase Young returned to practice today. If you're watching this
he's probably going to play.
Yeah, he returned to practice this week. Also Isaac Yadam, he's looked like he's going to be missing some time, man. He didn't practice at all. Cesar Ruiz, the starting right guard for the Saints, he dealt with an ankle injury a few weeks ago in the game versus Seattle. He didn't play. Against Buffalo, he didn't play last week. He returned to practice. You got a couple guys on the injury report that had light practice. You mentioned Alvin Kamara. He's dealing with an ankle injury. Trevor Penning, the starting left guard, he had a turf toe to start the season. He missed a few games, so he's still dealing with that. That's going to take some time.
And just because they're eliminated don't mean they're going to play Sunday, right?
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure like Trevor Penning is going to play. He was limited last week. I just think that's just the way the Saints trying to just slowly kind of get him back to form. So he's not on the injury report anymore. So I mean, Alvin Kamara, I mean, him dealing with that injury. I mean, I think the New Orleans Saints understand what they have in Alvin. They don't have to go out there and push him to the limit if he's dealing with a nagging injury. So I would say that he more than likely is going to play. Juwan Johnson is also on the list with an ankle injury, but he played last week. So some guys ended up on the injury report, but they did play last week, and they were on the injury report last week as well. So it's hard to say who is not going to play. If I'm betting, it's probably going to be cornerback Isaac Adam. He's probably not going to play. And even if he did, then he wasn't going to start. Quincy Riley, the 4th-round rookie out of Louisville, is going to start his second game. And the Saints also just signed Michael Davis, a veteran cornerback who played with the Chargers, and he also played with the Commanders throughout his career. So it doesn't look like Isaac Adam is going to play.
So your second is a little bit banged up. I like what I've seen from Kool-Aid last week.
Right.
Moving on to this Patriots game. What's one of the matches we're coming off a big time win at Buffalo. I don't know if you watched the game. I know we talked during the offseason. Yeah, I know we talked during the offseason. Drake May, some people got me MVP ranking. I ain't going that far yet. Let's cool off a little bit. But he's playing good. I mean, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks, 9 total touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's went two full games so far without turning the ball over. So he's been playing pretty good. We haven't got the running game going. Offensive line, Will Campbell, a New Orleans native, he returning home this week. Kayshawn Booth returning to New Orleans. So we got some Stephon Diggs coming off his biggest game against the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm not expecting Diggs to do that every week. I think there was just some adrenaline going on against the Buffalo Bills. Right. But what you looking forward to this matchup?
Well, I'm just looking forward to the Saints just playing some solid football. It has really helped like this past season. I mean, this season so far. It hasn't a result in too many wins, but I just like the fact that they've been in games, and you're also seeing players with experience getting better and better. Right, these young players like Ernest Sinker, and I mentioned Quincy Riley, like these young guys, Kool-Aid McKinstry, who just received the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Like those type of things, are beneficial to a team. It helps the morale of those young players. I just want to see them go out there and compete. Like this is going to be a little bit of a tough matchup because what the Patriots present to the Saints can be a tad bit difficult. Like I know Hunter Henry didn't have the best game against Buffalo on Sunday, but I can remember him going up against Carolina. He had 2 receiving touchdowns. Stephon Diggs.
How have y'all been more against tight ends this year?
Yeah. You said what now?
How have y'all been against tight ends this year so far?
Well, I have to say, they've been pretty steady, but I don't think that they have faced I take that back. Dalton Kincaid was, he scored a touchdown, but it was like late in the game. Like he wasn't really a factor. But I just look at Hunter Henry, and I just look at the matchup that he presents. And I think he's a little bit more of a better overall tight end than Dalton Kincaid. I think Dalton Kincaid is a really good receiving tight end. I think Hunter Henry is a little bit more of a better overall tight end. So I think that may be a issue for the Saints. And also Stephon Diggs. He has back-to-back 100-yard receiving game. And, he was motivated last week against Buffalo. Yeah. He had a really good game against Carolina. And, every time he plays against the Saints, I mean, he dominates. And this was when the Saints had Marshawn Lattimore guarding him. So
I remember that year. It was a Thanksgiving game, right?
Right. Yeah.
He hit him with that nice zig route.
Yeah,
I remember that
nice zig route. Yep. He's a polished, solid wide receiver. So I think that Kool-Aid McKinstry, he can't read his press clippings this week, right? I mean, you get that Defensive Player of the Week award, but you can't look at it too long and be like, okay, I done made it. No, man, you got to go out there and show it every single week. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him. Also, I will say this, the running game of the Patriots, I know they were able to, run the football, but they did turn the ball over last week. Stevenson did. Saints did generate 5 turnovers. So I think it's a matter of, the Patriots are going to have to make sure that they work on ball security, and the Saints, they're going to have to try to take it away. But, those are the 2 matchups. And also Christian Gonzalez. I mean, I got to mention him. Really
Chris Olave, that's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good matchup right there. Christian Gonzalez, is a guy who is clearly one of the best young corners in the game. He played last week. He had the guard Keon Coleman, pretty much kept him in check most of the night, and he has been doing that quite frequently. So all in all, man, it's going to be it's a lot of tough matchups across the board for the New Orleans Saints, and they're going to have to be able to make some adjustments if they're going to be competitive in this game versus the Patriots.
What would you say the weakest point? What would you say the weakest place is on your team, on your offense and your defense? I've been hearing is your run game. I know y'all give up 120 yards a game on the ground. Would that be the weakest point on defense? I love your linebackers.
Right. I wouldn't say the defensive line is the weakest. Defensively, I would have to say, man, it's the inconsistency of the linebacking group. Like they had a really good game last week. You had Pete Warner had 11 tackles. I think Mario had like 10. That Pete Warner will give you that type of performance where he's all over the field tackling, and then the next week he'll miss a couple of tackles or be out of position. So he's a solid linebacker. Don't get me wrong, but I would have to say that group, like in the secondary, I think the one thing that they just have that people can say is their inexperience. And but the thing about it is you don't know what you don't know. So if you go out there and just compete and continue to work, like you don't know how things are going to pan out. So, but I would have to say the linebacker group. I think the defensive line is not that bad. They do give up like some big runs from time to time, but I just noticed like they're really good at making adjustments. Like a lot of the issues happen maybe like in the first quarter or the first half of the game. Like going up against the Giants on Sunday, they did most of their damage in the first half. In the second half, they were able to make those adjustments, and the Giants didn't score a point. So they're going to have to make those adjustments on the fly because you don't want this game to get out of hand because, I think the Patriots are good enough defensively to be able to hold the lead and make it extremely difficult for the Saints to be able to get back into it.
Do you think overall? Because I don't know. I know I don't remember from the offseason. I know your expectations for the team. I'm pretty sure you didn't have y'all win the division, nothing like that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Do you think Kellen Moore has a long leash? Do you think he's going to have his time to put his imprints on this team, or do you think it could be something where if it gets too out of hand, they will let him go? I don't think they would do that with Kellen Moore. I mean, he's not working with a lot. But what's your intake and your information from what you've been hearing on what's on the leash that Kellen Moore has? Because y'all been competitive in a lot of games except for Seattle.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I don't think anybody can judge this guy fairly this season. Like, I mentioned this before on the State of the Saints podcast, and also when I was talking to another Saints podcast, I mentioned that we can't judge him based on what he inherited. Like, this was a mess that he came to. Yeah. Like, there's a reason why the New Orleans Saints were the last team to get a head coach. Right, because it was hard and very difficult for them to be able to get interviews with guys because they didn't want to attach their name to a train wreck. Like you had issues with aging players, salary, general manager that a lot of people feel like shouldn't be a general manager, and they don't want to attach themselves to that. But Kellen Moore was willing to take that task. Right, he was up to the task. He was willing to, come over to the New Orleans Saints, understand the condition of the team, and feel like he can make it better. And I just think that it's going to take some time. I don't think any logical Saints fan is judging Kellen Moore based on the season because they know what the New Orleans Saints are dealing with. This is a rebuild. You got a lot of inexperienced players that you need to see should you invest in the future, right, with those players. So I don't think anybody should judge him based on this season. Some of the things you can judge him on is how the team looked from week to week. And you mentioned the game versus Seattle. That was terrible. But the next week, they responded. They looked like a much better football team. And then finally, the week after that, they were able to beat the Giants. So it's showing that what he's doing is actually working. The players are buying into it. And as long as that happens, I think he should be fine. Now, if it goes off the rails and, the locker room becomes toxic and, guys are like, man, just checked out, then I feel like you have to take a good look. But I don't think any of those players are like discouraged, feel like they don't have the right coach. It seems like they like him, seems like they listen to what he says. And I think that they appreciate it even more that he's a former player out there trying to coach them. So he understands the ebbs and flows of the game. and also adverse situations. Being a journeyman, well, not a journeyman, but a backup quarterback throughout his career. So, I think that he's safe.
All right, a couple more before we get you out of here for the night. X factors and predictions. So I'll go first. My X factor for this game, I'm gonna go with the Patriots run game. They gotta get this run game going against the Saints. I mean, you couldn't get it going against the worst ranked run defense last week against Buffalo. So I'm afraid I don't know when they're gonna be able to get it going. So if they can get the run game going, it's gonna set up more players for Drake May. It's gonna open up more targets. I think teams are gonna start keying on Stephon Diggs. So Pop Douglas and Kayshawn Boutte and Kyle Williams and Mac Hollins, everybody is gonna have to start eating because y'all might put Kool-Aid McKinnon. Not saying Kool-Aid's a top 5 corner nothing after 1 week. I'm just saying y'all might put your best corner over there and y'all don't know how. I know y'all got what's your D coordinator Staley. Y'all got your defense. I like him with the Charger, or just I like his defenses down there. He's not a good head coach. But I think y'all got him as the DC. He's probably going to take Diggs away. I know y'all play a lot of zones, some match zones and stuff over there. So it's going to be interesting to see May, a young quarterback, not to turn the ball over and get the ball to the right spot. So I think this game here, the running game is going to be critical. So for the Patriots to have success.
Yeah. I think that I wouldn't put too much stock in what happened last week with the Bills because that's a divisional game. Yeah, everybody knows everybody. Like, I mean, how many times has Stevenson went up against the Bills, right? I mean, they know what he can do. They know what he can do. Like, guys like Travion Henderson and stuff like that, coming in after Antonio Gibson goes down, unfortunately, towards ACL. It was I hate that happened to him on that return because he was running the ball pretty well throughout the night. But, everybody knows everybody there, right? And even – with Stephon Diggs, he knows the defense of the Bills, right? That kind of like made the game beneficial to him. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. I think that the running game should be a factor in this game based on what we've seen over the last few weeks from the Saints. Also, just Stephon Diggs in general. I just think that it's going to be hard for that secondary to stop that guy because these are young guys that are, I don't feel like are at the highest level right now. They're not in their prime. They're just trying to figure out what it takes to be pros. And this can be an opportunity for him to possibly get 100 yards receiving again. But my X factor as far as with the Saints, I would have to say Rashid Shaheed.
Oh man,
be able to take the top off the defense again. It shows that Kellen Moore is trusting Spencer Rattler more to take a shot down the field with Shaheed. So will they see that again? So I think that he can be an X factor in the game. I don't think they just need to make Shaheed one-dimensional. Maybe, use him in motion, maybe add some motion. And also Taysom Hill. I feel like Taysom Hill can be an X factor in this game as well. Last week was his first game back. You can tell like he's still like dealing with.
I forgot all about Taysom Hill.
Yeah, and he's I think that when you're injured and you had a significant injury like he did, sometimes like you wonder like, are you the same player? Can you do some of the same things? And it's just a matter of you trusting your body. And him going out there, taking some hits and being in a live action game, I think that probably is going to help him to rev it up just a little bit more. So I think that those guys are going to be the 2 X factors in the game because you have to take into account Taysom Hill can throw the ball because he did throw a 19-yard pass to Juwan Johnson in the red zone. So those 2 guys to me, Shaheed and Hill, are the X factors for this game.
All right, prediction time. This game here has trap game written all over it for the Patriots. I'm telling you, this be 2nd straight game. You went to Buffalo. You 2-0 on the road. You went to Miami 1. You went to Buffalo 1. Can you really? Now you're going to New Orleans. That play now. I know the last couple of years y'all been bad, but I don't know your home record last couple of years. But I was down there in New Orleans for the Super Bowl and on that Radio Row doing some Super Bowl coverage and stuff like that. Right. And that place gets loud. And whether the Saints fan or not, it is closed in. It gets loud. This has a trap game written all over it. I'm telling you, I do not feel good about this game. I'm gonna pick us to win, but I don't feel good about it. I don't figure something about this game. Then next week you got to go to Tennessee, so there'll be 3 straight weeks on the road. So I'm gonna go with Patriots 20. For some reason, I think I got to feel we're gonna get out to a slow start in this game because we still. This could be an ultimate test for Mike Vrabel because I didn't really know him a lot. I know he's good with the Titans, but his last couple of years they were bad. So they didn't have too many big time wins. So I want to see how they handle success coming off a big win against a divisional rival. Can they bring that same momentum into New Orleans? I think they will, but I think they're going. I'm gonna tell you, I think they're going to start out slow. And it's just, I think it's going to be a sloppy game to start. I'm going to go past 23-13. No, 23-16 Patriots in a weird game. I just think it's going to be a sloppy game. And I think the Saints got some pieces there. We cannot take the Saints lightly. A lot of people, I see the line was like 4 points. That sounds about right. But, and I've seen some people say this should be a blowout. No, I don't see that happen. These ain't the Panthers. Now, we beat the Panthers bad. But I see 23-16, and then you're on the road. I just think we can get to a slow start. We'll get it done, but it's going to be a sloppy game. 23-16 Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Patriots winning this game also, but I just think that it's going to be close. I just think that the New Orleans Saints special teams, to me, it just, man, I hate to say
I heard it's bad. I haven't really seen
the way that special teams look. It's just a matter of time before they cost this team yet another game. Like they cost the Saints the Seattle game. Like it was over before it started because of the special teams. You had a blocked punt, you had a punt return for a touchdown, you had a missed field goal. Blake Grupe missed 2 field goals last week, and nobody's really paying much attention to that because the Saints won. But I'm telling you, like the fact that they're not paying attention to that, they rather just look at Blake Grupe and be like, yeah, just go ahead and figure it out. You can't do that, man. And I just think that in a close game like this, what I feel like it's going to be, it's going to come down to a field goal. Maybe it's a field goal like early in the game. And then we look back and be like, man, if Blake Grupe would have made that field goal, the Saints would have won. Or, if the Saints would have covered on their return with Travion Henderson or something like that, they would have won. Like this is the way that I feel. And, I understand people feel like this is going to be a trap game, but Mike Vrabel is a really good coach. I don't feel like he should have got fired in Tennessee at all, as you can obviously see with Brian Callahan. I mean, that's absolute issue.
He's going to have something for them next week when he go back to Tennessee.
Right. I mean, so it shouldn't have never happened. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's happy he's playing with the team that he's synonymous with throughout his career. So, but I don't think that they're not going to be focused. I think that he's going to have those guys focused in this game. But I think it's going to be close because I think the Saints are starting to, like, find their stride. And the stride don't necessarily mean like you about to just go on this crazy run where you win in 7-8 games. It just means that you're breaking through and you're finding ways to become a better football team. And just improving every single week and being in games and fighting to the end. I think that will help a lot of Saints fans because they understand that this team is limited at this point. But I got the Patriots winning a close game. I would say. I say 24-21.
Something like that. Yeah, I can see something like that.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Should be before I get you out, trade deadline coming up. Do you expect the Saints to be sellers?
I think it all depends on where they are at the end of the season. Like towards the end of the season. Like are they losing these games? Like is this one victory like the only victory that they have? I think that then you'll probably see maybe them picking up the phone. But even with that, I think they value their players, like no matter how high profile they are or how minimal we may think they are, like they value all their players. So, I don't know if they're going to be willing to trade a guy like Alvin Kamara or Pete Warner or Chris Olave. I think that they value those guys. And Mickey Loomis is not the type of guy that just feels, oh, we're doomed, so let's just go ahead and just have a fire sale. He doesn't work like that. So I think we'll have to take like a really good